All right, welcome everybody. I am so excited. I have been excited for this conversation. Today, I welcome Jen. She is a graduate of the Restoring Harmony program. Thanks for being here, Jen.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited because your journey in the Restoring Harmony program was so beautiful to play witness to and just watch it all unfold. And I was able to see you unfold into your strength and your power and your voice. And so I'm excited to dig into what was actually happening because there's a lot of things I'm sure that occurred that we didn't talk about. So let's just start at the beginning. What called you into the Restoring Harmony space? From my perspective, it felt very cosmic. So, how did that land for you?
Wow. So, whew, this is coming back all directly, as you can see. Well, I think it was divinely guided, right? So, right before I got sick, I came into your space into mantra. It was like something that I had been telling myself I needed to do, right? And we just came in to look at crystals and whatnot. And then lo and behold, the following week, well, I actually did a mental scan the next week, right? And so enamored by the concept of healing through energy. And I knew I was meant to find you, right? And so, and then you presented the Restoring Harmony program to me, and I knew that I had to do this for myself, that I had been led to you purposely, divinely guided. And so, that's how it all began. And yes, super cosmic,
It
no
really
doubt,
was.
no doubt
Yes.
about it. Yes.
When you walked into the room for your Menla scan, it's something, for me, like I'm not a salesy person. I feel the energy. And that when you walked in and I heard more about your story and we were able to go through your Menla scan results, I just knew it was designed for exactly you. And so, you had some health things
Mhm.
going on, and we were able to dive into that with the Menla scan, and that was really, really incredible. And I was able to watch you heal
Yes.
from so much of that. Is there anything about that that you'd like to share?
Um, wow, I had no idea how much healing I had to do, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and it's all interconnected, right? And through this program, um, I found that, and yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. I love it. And one thing that's so awesome about Jen is she just doesn't hold anything back. Like when the emotions come, she just lets them. And that's such a gift. And I watched that, and I didn't know what was happening during each session, but I could feel it and it was like powerful. Oh my gosh, it was
It's a
intense.
Yeah, intense always. I was able to purge so much that had been compressed and just hidden for so many years. And that was part of the magic, right? It just kept resurfacing like the layers of the onion. You just kept peeling them back. And every week I would just feel insanely so much better. And I couldn't describe it. And there were so many synchronicities happening. It was just incredibly magic,
Yes,
full of
those synch
magic.
when those synchronicities start hitting in the program, which they do, it's like, holy, the train starts going and you can't stop it.
Yeah. It's like, what is happening?
Yeah,
I don't
I
know,
like
but I love
it.
it. Keep going,
Yeah,
keep going. I'm
exactly.
all in.
That's exactly it. Now, as we made our way through the program, of course, being, my native culture and my ways, that my connection to Grandmother Earth, I really spoke a lot about that with every week that we went through the program, whether it was through physically talking about food or soil health or water, but it was this common thread that really anchors in through each of the 12 weeks. And you really leaned into those earth center practices. And how did that then start to show up, that connection, deeper connection with Grandmother Earth in your daily life?
Oh wow. Well, for me, it was just again very emotional in some of the readings that you went through. I just felt a deep connection that perhaps I'd always known was there, right? But didn't hadn't accessed it yet. And so, like I've always loved to garden. I've always loved to be barefoot on the earth, and it just kept resonating louder and louder with me. And it kept pulling me back in. And it's like, yeah, I couldn't understand it at first. But then, the more the more I really listened, the more I understood like this is part of my path. This is who I am. This is something that I'm supposed to stand up for and remember, right? It's all about that remembering.
Yes.
And so, yeah, I think that was the strongest piece for me is just remembering my connection to it all. Um, part of why I think that I had become sick was my disconnection to the things that I loved.
Hmm.
And gardening and being among the plants is just so integral for my soul. And so through this program, I learned that.
Yes, exactly. And, that was one thing that we talked about in your session, if I may share, was your location, where you live. And
Absolutely.
thank you. And some of the exposure to highly toxic chemicals that come across you and your family, not even just when the spray days are happening, but it's every day. Because that is leaching into your water, that's leaching
Sure.
into the soil, all of it. And I have seen you start to rise more in that power and standing up for your family, for you, for your health, and ultimately that is standing up for Grandmother Earth. And so there's been a shift with you. Can you talk a little bit to that?
Well, I think if, it's part acknowledging what it is and then witnessing what it is doing. I mean, I can't tell you how many countless um, pollinators I've seen die in my yard. I've lost chickens. I am certain, without a doubt, that this is part of, my crisis and my health. Because just had liver toxicity, from the years of being barefoot on my garden, not thinking otherwise. And just, I can go out there now and I can smell the fumes emanating. And it's just, and even driving down the highway when there are fields to the left and to the right. And this is a major thoroughfare. And I'm thinking, are these people none the wiser that are driving home every day from work, just taking in all this toxicity? What are we doing? What are we doing to our earth? What are we doing to humanity? What are we doing to all the living species that are here? And it just breaks my heart, as you can see. So, yes, part of this journey for me has been finding my own strength and confidence, which, that was probably the most impactful thing for me during the program. I mean, yes, regaining my health, of course, but yeah, my self worth and self confidence to be able to stand up and say like this isn't right, this can't go on, no matter who is going to come back at me, with vengeance. I don't care, because somebody has to do it. Maybe that's me.
I saw that for you. So I admire and I respect and I appreciate your boldness and your vulnerability and your willingness to share what's going on because you're not alone in this. This is happening all over the world. And when it's in your backyard and you're watching, you know, pollinators die right underneath you, you're watching your children run through the grass, knowing that there's toxins and poison underneath their feet and they really can't be in a safe space going outside and playing like kids are supposed to. And so for you to use your voice to stand in your power and speak up for those that maybe aren't ready or don't know, bring that awareness to the planet, the earth. It's so beautiful. And so I really appreciate and admire that. And, I feel like there were so many of these moments for you that kind of like cracked open, or you had like these epiphanies or ahas throughout making our way through the 12 weeks. Is there one specific kind of turning point that you can pinpoint?
Um, every time we had the Tao blessings,
Mm.
I melted. And so I can't really pinpoint one because, like I said, it was forever the onion, you know, peeling open. And it just kept getting better and better. And it still iterates within me. As you see, I did not expect to get emotional like this today. However, I think that's kind of the running joke is that I had to have the box of Kleenex next to me during sessions, and that's quite okay because that means that I had stuff that I needed to release, right? And so, no, I really can't pinpoint any one moment because it just everything was so powerful and
Mm.
just put me right where I needed to be, and opened me up for this gift.
Yes.
And here we are.
And here we are.
Here we
It
are.
was so true. It was like, okay, we're starting session, get the Kleenex, let's set it next to Jen. But I love that because sacred tears are such a beautiful sacred release and it's so necessary. And for you to be able to release a lot of what was potentially holding you back from standing in your power with your confidence, with the strength that you already had. It was just like you were saying, it was waking up in you. It was like this program shook it all loose so that it could, come to the surface, but it had to get some of the shit out of the way, right?
Right. It was lifting those weights that were keeping me subdued, and asleep.
Totally. Well said. Yes. So I think we were talking a little bit before we got on today how convenient and how unplanned that we're both wearing green. These two earth-centered, loving people here. And so, one thing, as I've watched the people that have gone through the Restoring Harmony program, everyone is on their own path, and it is such an honor and it is such a privilege to be able to watch it unfold and just play witness and just hold the space. I don't do anything. I simply offer information, right? And so I was able to see you lean into these earth-centered practices. And, with the Tao blessings that you were bringing up, how it really does expand and open, and it just leaves these opportunities for us to melt and to be and to allow. And so, as I watched you and I was like, ooh, there was something so special about your experience because of your connection to the earth. And I resonated with that on such a deep level. I'm so curious if you could wrap up your entire experience of the Restoring Harmony program into one plant or a tree, what would that be and why?
I I think of the oak tree, I just for one, it's always called to me. It's that tree that I seek out in nature, just so grand and feels sheltering and although, it is a deciduous tree, so it loses its leaves every year, right? But that's one of the things that I learned in restoring harmony was that to give yourself rest and that we go through seasons, right? And that was so beautiful for me because, especially in our culture, we are all about the rush, the, being fruitful with our time at all costs, and it's so tiring. It is so tiring, and it doesn't give you the space to integrate. And that was one of the key takeaways that I learned from you is that, here we are absorbing all of this wisdom from you, but we also had to give ourselves. I loved the rest of the week, where we got to integrate everything and take it all in. And I honestly, I'm still integrating everything, and I think it'll be a lifetime of that because the program itself was so powerful, Rachel. I mean, I just can't even express like the amount of spirit that came through. And I think that that's one of the things I left out. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. So the oak tree, right? The oak tree is just so grand and sheltering and feels full of wisdom, and um, its roots run deep, and it's there to protect others, and I felt that in essence is what restoring harmony is.
Mm.
A grand canopy
Ooh,
of wisdom.
that is so beautifully put, and thank you. Thank you so much for seeing the program exactly how it's designed. That's exactly why I built this. And, hearing you say this is going to be a lifetime, and it is. It's because we go through, all of that, and we have this deep understanding. We put these things and these practices into place. And then life happens, and we can easily fall out of those practices, and then we get back in because we know them, and we've watched and witnessed our own shifting and beautiful life that unfolds when we integrate them more deeply. And I love that you brought up integration. Integration is essential. Yes, you integrate through the week, but then at the end of each module, we had an integration week, full on week, because it's like we have to let this get deeper than just the surface. We have to really put these practices into place so they become our habits. And they change the habits, the behaviors, the limiting beliefs. And I know you experience that. And comparing the program to an oak tree sounds so incredibly potent, and the depth that's there in so many different meanings. Yes, the oak tree is so strong, and it's like a grand, tall ancestor among the forest, right? That just stands
Mm-hmm.
very confidently. And that's exactly how I see you. So,
Oh, bless
congratulations
you. Bless you.
and thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I have one last question for you. If someone watching this is on the fence, or maybe they're disconnected from themselves, or they're really unsure if this is the right step for them to begin this journey, what suggestions would you offer them?
I would say just do it. We have to invest in ourselves in order for to move forward, and it's so worth it. It's worth it to see what we're made of. It's worth it to remember the things that are dormant inside of us. The things that are going to come up are so powerful, and it's very liberating, and and it emanates out to other people. It's a ripple, right,
Yes,
Rachel?
yes, I was gonna, yes.
It's
It's
a
the
ripple.
ripple. Yes.
It's powerful, it's energetic, it's community, it's just, yeah, you can't afford not to.
Mm, well said. And it's so true. We often, especially I think it's fair to say this as women, we put ourselves last, right? Especially,
100%.
yes, especially
Yes.
if we're moms, right? We're like, okay, but we got the kids and we got to run, and the dinner and the blah and the laundry and and then I work 40 hours and blah, 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 and all the things.
Yeah.
So
And we're
we're
so
like,
disconnected.
Exactly. Yes. And so when we make a statement and say, no, I am going to invest in myself, I'm putting on my oxygen mask first,
Yes, yes.
we do a number of things. We break cycles. We show our children and others that we are important and we're worthy and we're valuable and we mean something. And then what starts to stem from all of that is, of course, everyone's on their own journey, but like you experienced, Jen, this was multifaceted for you.
And I didn't even have any idea how deep it ran, right? Yes, yes,
Exactly. And so
100%.
when we invest in ourselves, that exactly, Jen and I have this beautiful running joke about ripples. It's one of our favorite Grateful Dead songs, and every time I listen to it now, I always think of you. But that's just it. It's these ripples. And I've talked about having a ripple effect in the world since I started my business back in 2021. And it was all about like, okay, what I do, every choice we make ripples out, good, bad, and different. There is a ripple effect from that. And when you go through something like the Restoring Harmony program, those ripples are going to be positive because you are, again, putting yourself first, you're valuing your worth, you're honoring yourself, and you're nourishing yourself on every fucking level. And that's where the magic happens. And
Yep.
that's why we do this work.
It takes your energy from here all the way up to here, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yes, it's so true. Well, Jen, I am so grateful. I'm so grateful for your authenticity, your vulnerability, your honesty, your integrity. And I stand with you, sister. Let me tell you what you've got going on right now, just because I know there's things behind the scenes. I'm with you, and I am honored to stand with you. So thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Love you.
So grateful for you. Love you too. Thank you.